Hi, I'm Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you get to the next level in the gym by slaying that workout, getting that personal record, dropping body fat, building muscle, helping you dial in on your nutrition and supplementation program. Here on YouTube, my main focus has been on developing championship mindsets, winning mindsets, breaking through those sticking points. Have you wanted to improve your heart rate variability and not known how to go about it? Maybe you've been tracking it with the Whoop app. It's really one of the main ways that you may be actually tracking your heart rate variability. If there's another way, good for you. I don't know of it. I'm sure there's other technologies coming. But let's just take a look at heart rate variability and how to improve it. Well, I've been tracking my heart rate variability for over 30 days now, maybe a month and a half. And I was hovering right at about 60 something, and I really wanted to improve, and it was driving me nuts that I really couldn't get it to be better. And there would be days where I get 70 and then it'd go back to 50, and I was like, son of a bitch, and now what you're about to hear today as my testimonial on how I improved it recently. Take into account, I've been working on my sleeping schedule for a month and a half with the Whoop strap and the app, of course, and I've gotten some great improvements. Now, some things that I've done to increase my heart rate variability prior to what you're about to hear today are to really be mindful of wanting those 7 to 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours of sleep tends to be a really good sweet spot for me. Being as consistent as possible to a sleep time, meaning if 10:30 is your bedtime, typically that works for you to be up early for work. 10:30 should be pretty much when you go to bed. And if you're going to go to bed around 2 a.m., it's going to affect you. 1 a.m. is going to affect you. Yeah, that's kind of trivial. But what I'm getting at is what's not so trivial is that the body doesn't necessarily respond to 8 hours of sleep. If your regular bedtime is 10:30 and then you move it to, let's say, 2 o'clock a.m., let's just say if you were to still get those 8 hours from 2 to 10 in the morning, it is going to be a less quality sleep than if you were to go to bed at 10:30 to, let's just say, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. Till like 6:30 a.m., for example. So what I'm getting at is that the more consistent you are to a set bedtime, that's going to help you get more recovery. Now, easy enough to understand. I don't think anyone. I do think that. And typically, I think prior to the Whoop strap, I thought 8 hours is 8 hours, but it's not. The body does like a certain rhythm to it, a certain consistency to it to improve recovery. Okay, so that's one of the big takeaways there. Another thing I did was to reduce caffeine. So I did drop my caffeine by over 75%. I'm going to go ahead and round it, be a little hard on myself and say I cut it about 50%. I'll even say 40%. And so that allowed the central nervous system to start. We all know that caffeine is a stimulant and it stimulates the central nervous system. So if you are watching this video and you may know or you may not know that heart rate variability is connected to a response in the central nervous system. Okay, it's connected to the central nervous system. Heart rate variability metrics are connected to the central nervous system. The reason I said that so many times, for those of you that caught it so quickly, is because it's kind of a complex conversation for us to just assume that everyone can gather it so rapidly. Okay. In any case, now a whole month and a half went by and I was not seeing any kind of drastic jumps in my heart rate variability. Like I told you, the highest I'd seen it, maybe it was 70. Let me see what kind of metric that is in. I just know that, millisecond, whatever per millisecond, okay? So here's actually, as you can see, it was hovering right about as high as, 68. 68 was a pretty good bounce back right in here. That was last Tuesday. And then I started using Yoga Nidra. My sister, I had heard of Yoga Nidra in 2014 and used it a little bit. And it was connected to meditation almost. It was connected to meditation, like a passive type of meditation. Now, keep that in mind. I've talked about meditation on a practical level, on a scientific level, on a very fundamental level, meaning sitting up straight, using the breath, bringing up the energy up into the third eye. We've gone into that before. Now, Yoga Nidra is sort of a passive type of meditation, meaning the music itself has been linked to relaxation or meditative effects. Now, prior to the Whoop app, we could have just been speculative, like, maybe, yeah. But look at this. Look at this huge jump from maybe, I don't know, below 48. And it jumped all the way up here within 3 days of using Yoga Nidra to maybe 150 some. And today was a low of 104. But we have one hell of a jump, maybe like 40 points of an improvement. This is dramatic. Now, this is my recovery today at a 75% recovery, and that's me going to sleep late. It says your heart rate variability of 102 is 51% better than your recent average. So it's improved by 50%. This is a sign that your body is ready to take on high strain. Now, today I was working on the computer, launching my online training, and I was unable to work out as intense. I just did 30 minutes of cardio. I was really calling some new clients and getting some people ready to sign up for the online training. So I didn't really go ham, even though my body was saying you're ready to go ham. So that said, I'm really looking forward to the way this strap's gonna, help me recover faster and really dial in on my outputs. At the beginning of the year, I told you how I was experiencing some overtraining, like in the March area, and so really my body's feeling far more limber. I've started using the myofascial release Theragun to really help loosen up the tissue, and I'm really looking forward to putting down some weight in the coming months. Now, all that said, coming back to the Yoga Nidra conversation. So I woke up like super impressed. I mean, you can probably even tell just the way I'm talking. Today I probably had 120 milligrams of coffee. So 120, 240, I'm around a 240. Okay, today's nootropic use has been about 240 milligrams. Nothing excessive. That's pretty, your grandma might be taking more than that, to be quite honest with you. And I'm weighing about 230 pounds. So for me and my history of caffeine use, that is like a dramatic drop. I'm thinking on an average day, I was consuming anywhere from 500 to 800 milligrams of caffeine, up to 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. And here's what I used to take. So I used to take maybe like 2 to 3 scoops of Spark. So that's 120 a piece. So let's go 360. My pre-workout had another 120. So let's go ahead and put that at, so 360, 120, that puts us at 480, something like that. About 480, that's about 500. And let's say I threw in a fat burner or two. Let's go ahead and put another 100. So that's about 600 milligrams of caffeine. And let's say if I wanted to go out anywhere for the evening, I may have thrown in another stimulant in there sometimes, another fat burner, a strong energy boost or something like that, and another Spark. So there was days where my stimulants were through the fucking roof. I mean, through the fucking roof. And yes, that allowed me to put up some huge numbers in the gym. Those of you that know me well know that there's very few things that I won't do to maximize output and power in the gym. Now, with the Whoop strap, when I was looking at the numbers, the data that the Whoop strap provided for me really allowed me to just say, well, son of a bitch, I want a high recovery, and I'm not going to take below average numbers here. So by adhering to almost like looking at my inner central nervous system, my resting heart rate, these variables that are very organic in nature, I was able to dial in and say, look, let's do whatever it takes to get these numbers up. And after a month and a half, it's showing pretty remarkable changes. And this is just a month and a half, like I said. Now, as of the last week, you've seen what really, I just showed you the chart, that huge jump, that 40 to 80 points, that day that it jumped like 80 points almost. The main change I've done there is that Yoga Nidra. Now, to be completely fair, this is something I'd like to take. I like to take nighttime recovery. It does have magnesium in it, and if you'd like to, message below. I could help you get this. This is a product I've sold for years, I've used for years. So this plus a Yoga Nidra, and just really being mindful of reducing caffeine and being more mindful of getting that sleep in and using the whoop strap. These are some of the ways I've really maximized my actual recovery. So it comes to reason then. I think that, let's just say, what I've seen happens with the whoop strap now is, like, say you really start to see the value in your body's energy and recovery and how much you actually got to put into actual recovery. Like, it's not just a given that you're going to recover great. You can't no longer take it that way. And I think that's how it used to be. I think we used to sort of wing it a little more and say, okay, well, the numbers are up. So it's really allowed us to sort of have a separation of fields here where we could say, okay, prior to the science and the technology, we put up the numbers, we were driven primarily with passion, and we let the heart lead, and we let our vision lead, and we sort of shot in the dark a little bit when it came to recovery, meaning a little bit, meaning this is still very viable and been something that we've been using for sometimes 2 decades, some of us, like magnesium, zinc, etc., maca root, etc. These things that we've known for years have benefits to recovery. So that does hold value still, and the technology is showing that. Yoga Nidra, however, is not something that we so commonly talk about. And I'm going to give a shout out to my sister, Michelle Adams, who did actually bring it up, who is a yoga instructor and who herself found her path in yoga and meditation. And she brought it up to me. She goes, Jacob, have you heard of Yoga Nidra? I go, yeah, I used it back in 2014 passively. But she said, hey, look at my numbers. And she's got the whoop strap herself, and she showed me her numbers. And I'm like, son of a bitch, those are really good. That's a really good HRV. And so I started using it for a few days, and I was using music to sleep, actually, for the Calm app for like all year. But the Yoga Nidra, so go to your iTunes store, for example, those of you that have Apple Music, maybe have Spotify, or, and go to a Yoga Nidra album for sleep, for example, and play it during your bed. I would say give yourself, it took about 3 to 4 days to really start seeing these metrics. First day wasn't so impactful, but 2 to 3 days later, I almost think this fucking thing is broken. That's how awesome the response was. So to consider that, I think, so go back to what we're saying is that, so the gains are there. The Yoga Nidra and the gains have a correlation. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll be crazy enough to stop playing Yoga Nidra, but for now it's a keeper. I just don't see a day where I'm gonna go, yeah, my numbers are through the roof right now with my heart variability, so I'm gonna stop playing Yoga Nidra. I don't see myself wanting to starve myself of a great night's sleep. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna cut it out. But in any case, I think that what we have here then is a separation of worlds, where we say, okay, those of us that are not using the technology and getting into these deeper ways to recover while the data is there, we're kind of left to shoot in the dark and lead with our passion and our vision. And it's great. I did that for decades, okay? But now what we have is the technology refining even our sleep so we can really dial in and save time, because maybe that means we're not working out as hard, okay, to get the same results. Gonna have longer lasting joints as we exercise 10, 20, 30 years from now. And just really priming the hormones that help us stay younger longer. So we have, I think, a separation of camps. Those of us that are gonna sort of straddle into the new world as to using the strap. I'll go ahead and put a link below so you get a free month. I think that they're in back order, but for only like $11, you and I will both get a free month. So all you pay is $11, you get the strap, and I think it's only $30 a month. You can get as low as $20 a month, but $30 a month, and for 6 months, and then you'll get to keep the strap. That's for free. Okay, so I'll put the link below for you to get your whoop strap, Yoga Nidra. You can get it on Apple Music, on Spotify, if you want to buy a CD, those of you that still use CDs. But what I do is I just put my alarm on, put my phone on playing a little bit away from my ears, that like a decent audible sound, nothing too loud, just enough to be soothing. I put my sleep mask on. I don't know where it is. Here it is. I put this guy on here like this, and we are ready to rock and roll. Have a great night's sleep, okay? That's all you got to do. It's about the testing. Now you kind of heard what I did to improve my sleep and my recovery. I got the whoop strap, started obsessing about the data and really giving me a little bit of me time. So important. And now incorporating Yoga Nidra plus my sleep supplements plus, just being obsessive enough to care. Okay, so the biggest mistake you can make is just to like tell me I'm dumb and just ignore me. Do that if you want. I don't recommend it. Okay, in any case, love to hear your thoughts, your comments. There is a link below. Subscribe if you like to the channel. Love to hear your thoughts, your feedback, your heart variability if you're using the whoop strap. I'll place a link below to order your own whoop strap. And here we go. Time to eat some dinner. I'm out. Peace.